Happy 2025 Purple Friday, the first of many. And of course, hopefully it's the first of many this month if this team continues the tear that it's on. Welcome inside the vault for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. I'm Bobby Trossett, as always, joined alongside my co-host and who I refer to now as Miss National yet again, Sarah Ellison, bursting onto the national airwaves. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Shout out NFL Network. Shout out Peter Schrager. You're doing the Lord's work for those out there that want to see Lamar win his third MVP, and you're doing everything you possibly can to ensure that the national airwaves pick up all that and more, and what we know is a really, really compelling case. Mike Sando, I think, believes that as well, a prominent NFL writer from The Athletic, Sarah, who put together a piece that maybe, just maybe, offers the be-all, end-all for Lamar. We'll have to see. We'll weigh what that might mean or might not mean. We will have a Browns-Ravens preview, despite this being a ridiculously slanted, heavily favoring the Ravens game, which is coming up tomorrow at 4:30. Myles Garrett, their star pass rusher in Cleveland, had a lot to say about Lamar. And Chef Zae, by the way, for those of you who watched me on the AFC North Roundtable for the few weeks that I participated in that earlier this season, Chef was the Cleveland the Cleveland personality on YouTube, and he's going to be joining us in about 22 minutes from right now. So all that and more. Great to see you, partner. Happy Friday, and there's a birthday to go around in your household as well.
It is my husband's birthday today, and I'm excited to celebrate. He's the best person I know on this planet, the rock of our family, the love of my life, and I cannot wait for him to get home from work and to celebrate. But until then, Bobby, today is the last Friday before a game of this 2024/2025 regular season. It's really going to be Lamar Jackson's last time that he gets to make an MVP bid. And I know we've been pushing that agenda hard. I've been pushing that agenda hard. And we've only got one more day really to do it, maybe 2 more days. Or 2 more shows. So I'm here. I'm here for this last day, this last show before the end of the regular season.
That's exactly what it is. It's brought to you by our friends at Manta Sleep, and let's get right into it. So, Mike Sando is again, you see it in the title. He is one of the most prominent NFL writers. He covers across the league NFL content for The Athletic, Sarah, and you had a chance to read one of his most recent pieces that we feel like is a really, really compelling look, and one of many that we know are out there that favor Lamar for an MV3.
We often know who the MVP voters are who are on the broadcast side because we hear them talk all the time. But there's so many other voters that are not as loud or don't have as big of a platform as, say, the Dan Orlovskis or the Emmanuel Achos or I don't know. There's so many guys out there. But Mike Sando, just a quieter guy. Phenomenal writer for The Athletic. He used to be with ESPN, and he's a big numbers guy. He's a big stats guy, and he put together a banger of an article yesterday. Shout out to Jeff Zrebeck, because the only reason why I saw it is because Jeff had retweeted it, obviously, his coworker there at The Athletic. So what I really liked about this, Bobby, if you don't mind me kind of taking you guys through, and Bobby, feel free to jump in where you want. I know you haven't been able to read this yet, so I'll go ahead and steer the conversation, but please jump in whenever something sticks out to you. So what Mike Sando did as a numbers guy is he went back and he looked through all the MVPs, the quarterback MVPs that have won since the year 2000. So there's 21 of those. And so what he did is he established a baseline from those 21 MVPs, a baseline of what a MVP season looks like. And so he said those quarterbacks averaged about 4,300 yards passing. Okay. So again, looking at total yards, it's changed a bit since quarterbacks are running more now, but Jackson, Allen, and Burrow all hit that. They all had about an average about 37 passing touchdowns. Lamar hits that. Allen doesn't, but his rushing touchdowns get him there. Burrow hits that. 9 interceptions, done with all these guys, and then 108.8 passer rating. Lamar blows that out of the water. Lamar blows that way out of the water. So those are the MVP's baseline, and Lamar's certainly doing that and more. So they averaged a total of 40 touchdowns with 11 turnovers. All these guys are doing that. Then you have to know Sando is a big EPA guy, which measures efficiency. Okay, so we got to get used to EPAs and why this is very, very important. So the average EPA is 0.27 per play. Okay, get that number in your head, 0.27 per play. I know we aren't accustomed to hearing it a lot, but that's very important. So what's also important, I just want to point out, because I get Bills fans in my mentions a lot when I put out the raw statistics for Lamar, then they say, well, what about EPA? And it's true that Allen used to lead in that. And EPA, by the way, different sites have different grades. It's a very strange statistic that's not like a one size fit all. But for Mike Sando's purposes, Lamar is leading in EPA per play and EPA per pass play, EPA per attempt, and then total EPA. He's leading all of them. And that used to be Allen's bread and butter. Any reaction so far? Like, it's pretty cool that he gives a baseline since 2000, right? It's a good baseline to know what an MVP performance looks like.
You're on a roll. We got great volume, great sample size, so I'm following right along.
Cool. All right. So you guys have heard me kind of pound the table for the quarterback betrayal index, and I have done that because it is Mike Sando who's the author of it. So what that looks like is you take a quarterback EPA, just the quarterback, not offense. So it's taking out what Derrick Henry does, everybody else. It's the quarterback EPA. And then he takes a differential between that versus the defense and special teams EPA. And then when you look at the differential, you find out who's been most betrayed by his defense and special teams. The last time we looked in, or the last time he published something on this, was week 10. Lamar was number 1. We know that week 11 is when the defense started turning things around and Justin Tucker started making his kicks. Okay, so Joe Burrow has overcome Lamar Jackson in total betrayal index. Okay. That's not surprising since they have turned it around, but Lamar is still number 2 on the list. He is still the second most betrayed quarterback in the entire NFL. And as Sando points out, yes, Burrow has taken it over. He says Burrow and Jackson have swapped places at the top since our check-in after week 10, but Jackson has a much better record, 11-5 compared to 8-8 for Burrow. So Lamar over the season has been able to overcome it, whereas Burrow hasn't as much until recently. He says, but Jackson has a better record, which factors into the MVP equation. Being good enough on offense to overcome the other components and win is the goal. Sometimes that's unrealistic, but no MVP quarterback team has had a worse than an 11-5 record from a win percentage standpoint. So he doesn't come out and say it, but he's saying that by being 8-8 kind of takes you out. Right? Yes, you are the most betrayed, but you didn't overcome it enough. Lamar is just the number 2 betrayed, not far behind at all. And he has overcome it more often. And he has that bare minimum record of 11-5. Sorry, what'd you
since he's still holding on for hope here going into the final frame for a postseason trip and need a lot of help, not just a win against Pittsburgh, but some other help as well around the league.
Correct. So he also points out, even though Burrow is number 1 and he's now number 2, he says Burrow and Allen have combined to play 7 games with worse defensive special team support than the Ravens' worst game. But Jackson has had more overall games with below average support. Listen to this. This is a dagger for Allen. Buffalo's offense has started a league high 28 drives in opponent territory. Like Lamar has way more passing or he has more total touchdowns, way more passing touchdowns. We know half of Allen's rushing touchdowns are from the 1-yard line with those QB sneaks. Then on top of it, his defensive special teams is helping him start in opponent territory the most league-wide. 28 drives have started in opponent territory. For the Bengals, they had 19. For Baltimore, 14. That's half.
Yep.
Allen has had double the drive starting in opponent territory. And so Sando says that helps explain why Allen's Bills average more points per drive, but less EPA per drive. He says Jackson is 6-3 when the Ravens are a combined EPA on defense and special teams with a negative 0.7 or worse. Allen's only 3-2 in those games, and Burrow is 1-6. So Lamar is overcoming it more often. Bad defense and special teams. Now here's the dagger, Bobby. Oh, this is the dagger.
This might end the debate. If voters are willing to look past maybe some of their personal criteria that goes into how they cast,
yes,
this could potentially end it in favor of Lamar right here.
Oh, okay. This demolishes the argument that Josh Allen is doing more with less. Okay. This demolishes it. And it demolishes anybody using the Pro Bowlers against Lamar. Yes, he has 9 Pro Bowlers, but what are those 9 Pro Bowlers doing for Lamar? And this table sets it up. Okay. Remember I told you at the top, the baseline EPA per play for a quarterback for an MVP performance is 0.27, right? So that's the baseline. So what Mike Sando did is he shows in the graph to the right all the games weeks 1 through 16 of each quarterback's EPA for each game. Okay. So Lamar Jackson is on the column to the left. Okay. There are 5 times when Lamar didn't hit that 0.27 MVP level of play. 5 times. Guess what the record was for the Ravens when Lamar Jackson did not play at an MVP level? 0-5.
Yeah.
0-5. There's nobody lifting him up when he and that's not even saying Lamar played poorly. It's just that he didn't play at an MVP level that is a baseline for since the year 2000. Anytime he played below the baseline EPA since 2000, the Ravens lost. So I'm happy he has all those Pro Bowlers and they're great, but it ended up in losses if Lamar wasn't playing at MVP level. 0-5, the 5 times he didn't play at MVP level. Let's take a look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen has 7 games where he did not play at an MVP baseline level. 7 times. Their record in those 7 games, 5-2. 5-2.
Oh boy.
What? And this is the biggest argument against Lamar is that Josh Allen is doing more with less. Well, no, he's not. No, he's not. When he is not playing at an MVP level 7 times, they still won 5 of those 7 games. When Lamar dropped below an MVP level, which
they're
was
not a
fewer
postseason
times,
team.
right? Which is fewer times they've lost all games. They're not a postseason team. Exactly right. Exactly right. So as Mike Sando says below, so he writes that out in those paragraphs. He tells the splits. He says this suggests Baltimore has needed MVP production from its quarterback in order to win. Now, Mike Sando doesn't come out and say who he's voting for because I know he's a little bit more careful with it all. But based off of everything I read from Mike Sando, and we'll find out next week, I think he's voting for Lamar.
So Mina appears to be on the train.
Yeah.
Is definitely on the train. Sando could potentially be on that train. Dan Orlovsky has a chance to call this game tomorrow.
That's right.
By the way, he'll be in the ESPN booth with Louis Riddick. We'll get to that in our quick hit. So he's going to have a chance to see Lamar's final argument, right? Which is coming up tomorrow. Who else is out there? Mike Florio, I believe, is leading in. Right. And what I mean by that is who has made
he had him as a front
visible.
runner. We know that.
Yeah. Who has made themselves visible? Those are the 4 that come to mind so far.
Whereas Dan and Emmanuel Acho seem to be leaning towards Josh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or like Acho walked himself back though. Could it be fair for him to kind of be like at square one? Back at square one?
He maybe. We'll read it because he did respond to me yesterday. Because remember, I did not like his argument about the tape yesterday, and he responded to me because I sent something out to him. So one other thing on this topic of how the Ravens don't play well when Lamar doesn't play well. So Scott Kaczmar, who has been he's been fighting with Bills fans for like 2 weeks, Bobby. I don't know if you've followed him. He's hilarious to watch on Twitter. Anyway, he pointed out that the Ravens are 4-10 when Lamar Jackson doesn't start. So Mike Sando pointed out what happens when Lamar doesn't play at an MVP level. Scott's pointing out what happens when Lamar just doesn't start. And that's a .286 win percentage. The Ravens do not win with Lamar.
Yeah.
So,
Without
of course,
Lamar. Yeah.
Right. So he tweeted that out. And then somebody said to him, he said he couldn't find it, but somebody said, well, that's normal. Whenever you lose a starting quarterback, of course, you're going to have a worse record. Well, yes, but how much worse? So Scott brought the receipts. He brought up team records, Bobby, when some of the greatest ever have missed. Okay, have not started. Johnny Unitas' team, I mean, he went way back. He went back to Johnny U. Okay. The Colts at that time was still winning 70% when Johnny wasn't there. He's got Roger Staubach. He's got Tom Brady, who's way up there at .684. He's got Drew Brees at .611. Joe Montana, Steve Young. Okay, when we start getting in the middle, those 500s at Steve Young, John Elway, Dan Marino, even Patrick Mahomes, that are around 500. All the way at the bottom of the list is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, look at this.
The Ravens don't win if Lamar Jackson doesn't start. And this year they haven't won when he hasn't played at an MVP level. Oh,
look at this. And it's a smaller sample size than a lot of guys on there, but still 4-10 is staggering.
Yeah.
You know, Brady, like you said, Brady was 13-6. I think that was when Matt Castle took over for him. That's probably, they had like a,
well, and then who else? Who was the guy that San Francisco got because he went out? There was Matt Castle and
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Garoppolo. There you go. Yeah. A lot of QBs.
Weekend, by the way.
A lot of QBs got some money after they filled in for Tom Brady, and then he came back, and then everybody else were like, "Oh, he must be the next Tom Brady."
Oh yeah.
That didn't work out.
Jimmy's actually starting this weekend for a team.
Oh, is he?
I saw that the other day. Yeah. Who the heck is he backing up? Let me see.
I have no clue. I've lost track of.
He's still in the league. Yeah. Let's see. Who's he with right now? The Rams. Okay. Yeah. Jimmy's going to start for the Rams this weekend. I saw that. But anyway, this is good stuff from Sando, Sarah. And like I said, I guess moving forward, the question is, will this resonate with some of the voters who seemingly have either already made up their minds or because of public outcry and criticism had to kind of walk themselves back and apologize and vow to essentially look at this objectively down the stretch after calling it over, through 15 weeks.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen.
Remains to be seen. So one other thing before our guest comes, he comes at 12:30?
Yep.
Okay, I think we can get this in.
We gotta get
so obviously, everybody already knows this because I've been tagged before I even saw it. But Peter Schrager, remember yesterday as Quick Hits, I pointed out a thread or a Twitter exchange Peter and I had. Peter talked about the incredible interception rate that Lamar Jackson has right now, which is historic. And then I reply and I say, what's more incredible is they weren't his fault. And then I sent him receipts, right? He's like, I may have to do this. He's like, I might have to do a segment on Friday. Well, I wake up and people are, I was already awake, but, I'm like making my bed. I'm like doing stuff. And all of a sudden my phone, it starts notifications. Well, sure enough, Peter Schrager did an awesome in-depth segment on Lamar Jackson's historic interception rate. I figured we should play it. What do you think, Bobby?
Without question. You've been on a heater. You got to play it. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Yesterday, while I was going down this rabbit hole on the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson MVP debate, I discovered an eye-popping number looking at the stats. Lamar Jackson has thrown 442 pass attempts this season, and he's only thrown 4 interceptions. That is 1 interception per every 111 pass attempts. I was so blown away by this number that I had to tweet about it. I had to do it. I had to go to X. I wrote this. What is perhaps most impressive about Lamar's MVP caliber season is that he's thrown 442 passes and only 4 have been intercepted. The best pass attempt to interception ratio of all time, with a minimum of 440 passes, is actually held by Aaron Rodgers, who in 2018 somehow threw 597 passes and only 2 interceptions. But look at Lamar's 2024. If you're looking at the all-time for that stat. Most pass attempts, least interceptions. Lamar has 39 touchdowns and just 4 interceptions. There's a woman, Sarah Ellison, who is as respected a voice in Ravens media circles as anyone, and she's the co-host of the top Ravens podcast, the Ravens Vault.
You muted yourself. Sarah, you're muted. Hey, you're muted. Can she hear me?
I was
You're
muted. There we go. My bad. I just wanted to pause it because he said the top Ravens podcast. That's why I said early at the top of the show, we went national. That's number one. Number two, I don't know if it's true if we're the top Ravens podcast, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it, Peter.
Oh, we're taking it and running, okay. Peter. Appreciate you.
Let's go. Let's keep going.
Sarah quickly replied to my tweet and said, agreed, Peter. And what's more impressive is that none of them were his fault. 3 bounced off the hands of his receiver, and the 4th, the wide receiver didn't finish the route. So we've got the archives, we've got the film footage. It's the last Friday of the regular season. Let's see these for ourselves. Week 2 versus the Raiders. Lamar Jackson throws a pass. It looks like it's in Rashad Bateman's hands, but it's intercepted by Robert Spillane. That should be a catch. Let's go. Week 6, they're playing Washington. Here's Lamar Jackson, throws the ball. It is right in the hands of Mark Andrews. Andrews, as reliable a target as ever, drops the pass. Let's go to week 11. Justice Hill has the ball, and Peyton Wilson, the rookie on the sideline, somehow, some way, rips this ball loose as Justice Hill is going to the ground. That is the 3rd interception that we have shown that Lamar Jackson threw the ball in the most perfect place, and yet it somehow ended up an interception. All right, the 4th one, also against Pittsburgh on the Saturday afternoon game. Bateman, who's had a great season, does not finish the route. He cut short. There's a miscommunication. This one could be Lamar's fault. It could be Bates' fault. He just looks like he's not going in the right place. Lamar throws an interception. They win the game anyway. Those are the 4 interceptions. Those were the 4 interceptions. Sarah Ellison is right.
You like where I cut the video?
Oh, I just noticed that. Sarah Ellison is right. What a start to your new year, first and foremost. I mean, you're on a heater right now, and yeah, he did give the Vault some love nationally there. I'm a big fan.
I'm telling you, Kay Adams did too. Kay Adams did too. She gave you a shout out. And listen, that's all fun and all that, but like the real thing is just trying to get the case out there. MVP for Lamar. Josh Allen had a sensational season. But I've got an agenda. I don't know if you do. I've got an agenda. I've got no shame in it. And I just feel like I want to fight for Lamar. So that's what I'm out here doing. And he's making it easy for me. Lamar is making it easy for me.
Well, congratulations. I think job well done. You know, job almost finished. We'll see if it's finished. Depending on what Lamar may or may not have a chance to do coming up tomorrow when the Cleveland Browns come to town. Speaking of those Cleveland Browns, we're going to bring in our guy, Chef Zae, in just a moment, from the Browns YouTube community, and of course, a former teammate of mine on the AFC North Roundtable. But first, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Manta Sleep. And what you're seeing up on the screen right now is the Manta Sleep Mask Pro. It gives you true 100% blackout for a deeper sleep. You've got C-shaped eye cups for unbeatable side sleep comfort. 0 pressures applied to your eyelids or lashes. You've got advanced materials and ventilation for unmatched breathability. I see a lot of you in the live chat that are like, man, we don't want these guys to go national. First and foremost, we're staying right here. But you want to know how we stay right here? Supporting our brand sponsors, because they support us. They make this feasible on the back end. And you can do so by clicking on the link that we have included in a couple different places. At the top of the show notes, it's also a pinned comment right now in the live chat. And if you find something you like, use our discount code. That's how all this is measured and tracked by Manta. Vault10. That's VAULT10 at checkout. You'll get 10% off your next purchase. There's many more sleep masks than just the Sleep Mask Pro is what you're seeing on the screen right now when you go to the site. So go do that. And a special thanks to Manta Sleep for their continued support in what we're building here inside the channel. Another guy who's built himself a nice platform, Sarah, and you haven't had a chance to meet him yet. So looking forward to facilitating that right now. It's our guy, Chef Zae. It's been a tough season in Cleveland, as we know, but we got to get the state of the Browns entering this regular season finale. And for that, let's go to our guys. Hey, it's great to see you, brother. It's been a minute. Happy New Year. And this is probably going to be somewhat of a painful conversation for you based on what we discussed earlier on in the season. I hope your well-being is where it needs to be. But this is my co-host, Sarah, and it's good to have you guys on here.
Appreciate you guys for having me on, Sarah. It's nice to meet you. I may need to get me one of them sleep masks because it's been a long season and these eyes need some good shutting right now because you want to talk about the state. Whew, man, I don't even know where to pick. You can pick. There's a lot of corners that everybody's sitting at right now.
Well, we were hoping you would do that for us. What's the state of these Browns? Just like obviously life after Deshaun Watson has proven to be challenging. Life with Deshaun Watson this year was pretty challenging as well. But the state of this team entering Week 18, what do they have to play for aside from getting Myles, that potential sack title?
Myles, they have to play for their cornerstone pieces. Myles Garrett came out a couple weeks ago and made it very clear that, they need to show him a direction in which way they want to move forward. He's not interested in the rebuild. Joe Paterno kind of echoed the same thing, except he's saying he's not going to end up going anywhere else. He'll just retire. You have to think the same for Denzel Ward. Obviously, JOK, his health and what that's in question right now. We don't really know what's going on with that. So, as much as we want to sit here and say we're playing for something, the only thing that we're really playing for right now is to show Myles Garrett that, look, we're going to move forward after this year. We're going to put the pieces around you to hopefully make a run at this thing next year. And I'm just so confused why everyone wants to just, I get it. We want to tank, but is Cam Ward going to keep Denzel or Myles Garrett here? I don't know. So that's the big thing that I think we're playing for this week. And I can't even say pride at this point because nothing has been prideful about this year.
Chef Zae, I'm so happy to meet you. Clearly, I need to catch up because everybody in the chat is excited. I'm just seeing everybody saying, Chef's cooking, Zae's here. So happy that you came to join us. I'm happy to meet you. What is Garrett's contract situation like? Is this something where if he didn't want to stay, he would force a trade? How many years left does he have it on his contract, and what do you think will happen?
So we have next year. We have him next year. But I'm it's more so, Andrew Berry and the way that they've been operating has been a lot of the control aspect. They want to make sure they have guys under control. So I'm hoping that if Myles Garrett does want to force his way out, that it'll be one of those things where it's like, hey, knock, I kind of want to get out of here. Go get something for me before free agency comes up and I walk and you get nothing for me. I'm hoping that's not the case. This is why I think, Bobby, we talked about this when you were on at the beginning. I think this was the biggest year the franchise has ever had. Well, now we're going to have the biggest offseason this franchise has ever had, because if you don't knock something out of the park this year, you're probably going to lose Myles Garrett, and then you'll probably lose Denzel Ward. And now we're talking about a complete rebuild. And that's something that I didn't think was possible at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, times are challenging. I don't envy what you've had to deal with in the content space, but if there's a guy that can handle it, it's you. Myles Garrett has actually handled Lamar relatively well throughout his career. He's sacked him 5.5 times, but as we learned during his press conference earlier this week, and as we're about to hear right now, he's not exactly satisfied with those sacks because he hasn't gotten to him cleanly. Listen to this.
And going against him, I think when we looked it up, you have 5.5 sacks. Taking him down in your career, are those the hardest 5.5 sacks you've been for?
Absolutely. It's not even close. I mean, there are definitely some other special cats at the quarterback position who are shifty. Pat himself, he has great contact balance. But, Lamar has that, but he also has speed, he has quickness, he's shifty. So he has that tremendous running ability, and he can also throw the ball pretty much anywhere on the field right now.
So I know you've gotten him with the sacks, but have you ever gotten a clean shot on him? Because it feels like a lot of guys don't. Whether you're scrambling or whatever, he just doesn't take big hits.
I don't know anybody who has got a real clean wallop on him. So I don't know if it'll happen. Yeah, I don't know if it'll happen. So myself included, like you said, but we'll see. Someone has to do it.
So that was Myles Garrett from earlier this week. Quote, I don't know anybody who has gotten a real clean wallop on him. I don't know if it'll happen, myself included. We'll see. Someone has to do it. And then Zae, we're going to bring in here in just a second. First, from a game planning perspective, here's Myles on taking on Lamar Jackson. Again, this is a team that they beat, as you know, earlier in the season. It's hard to believe that took place this year, but it did.
Either upset them and mess up their playoff hopes. And if the sack title comes along with that, great. I'm definitely gonna do what I can to be disruptive and take 8 out the game as much as possible. So, if that comes along with it, outstanding. But at the end of the day, I want to win.
How difficult is it to take? I mean, is it possible to even take 8 out of the game completely?
Out completely? Hell no. And the man's amazing. A couple years back, you would say, try to keep him in the pocket. I think even beginning of the season, we were like, just try to keep him in the pocket and make him throw it as much as possible. And now you're like, shit, we don't know what to do. He's been steadily growing, year after year. He lost that baby weight. Now he's back to being lean and fast as hell. So now, whether he breaks the pocket or he stays in the pockets, you're gonna have a rough day because he can do everything.
I tell you what, if that's not, exhibit A for the evolution of Lamar Jackson, Zae, and I know you were absolutely with me on the round table, always acknowledging of that. And it seems as if that's a universal sentiment that's felt in that building as well by Cleveland.
Listening to Myles Garrett, man, and thinking back on these past comments, it feels so like he's 1 foot out the door. I'm so scared. I am so scared for that. But you mentioned Lamar Jackson and his throwing ability. Isn't it fun? Like, it's just funny how those whispers are just gone now. Lamar can't throw. That stat that you showed where it was with the Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady or whatever it was with the interceptions, that is crazy because I thought he would be his best if he was doing, me, Bobby. You're throwing and running. He's best when he's got his legs involved. Man, he's really quieted the doubters in terms of his arm and his throwing ability. And you guys are going to be a tall task in the playoffs, that's for sure.
Chef, so ever since the Browns announced that Bailey Zappi will be starting, the Ravens went from, I think, 18.5-point favorites to 20-point favorites, which, is pretty big. It's the largest spread in the NFL since 2021. But everybody here in Baltimore remembers the last matchup with the Browns, which everybody thought the Ravens would just easily win. Didn't happen. What is your feeling going into this? Is there any way, what Myles Garrett just said, it'd be nice to spoil them and get the sack record? Is there any way that could happen?
This threw me for a loop because I don't know if Vegas knows something that we don't know about Bailey Zappi, but I've seen Bailey Zappi destroy the Browns before. Also, I don't know if they watch DTR play quarterback, but you're telling me Bailey Zappi is worse than DTR? He has not thrown a touchdown yet. So I don't know why this point spread went this way, because as soon as I saw the news, I went to, that's 17.5 looking juicy now because this should be competitive. So I guess I don't know something that Vegas knows. Maybe you guys do.
I do not. I feel like Bailey and DTR better than we do. So you think that that their chances go up with this change?
Personally, I do because I nothing against DTR. What I saw, that was some of the most. It got me to a point where I'm like, wow, this is actually poverty. Like I usually I'll throw jokes on there, but I'm like, no, this is actually poverty. What we are experiencing, what we are watching. And I don't know if it was the game plan or whatever the case may be, but DTR just couldn't move the ball. I think we got maybe 2 possessions inside the red zone, and both of them resulted in a missed field goal and a fumble. So it's like, even when we do get on that half of the field, it's not at the hands of him. So I'm so glad that this DTR experiment is over, and I would love to know if there's something there about Bailey Zappi being trash, because there's no way that spread moved up 2.5 points. No way.
What's good with this injury report? Because this thing's like a mini mountain. I mean, what has gone wrong with them physically this year?
The losses. Everyone
and everything.
Listen, Jedrick Wills said it best. He made a business decision. And since that point on, it just feels like everybody has been out for themselves. I think the defense has been the last thing to kind of stand together, which is why if I'm excited to see anything, I'm excited to see how Myles Garrett's energy is and how this team responds Because like I said, if this is Myles Garrett's last hoorah, he's definitely making it known. He's definitely been performing at a high level like we want him to. We always talk about where's Myles Garrett at the end of these years or at the end of the season. Well, he's been pretty relevant these past few weeks. And if he goes out with a bang this week and you see, like, you know, that energy that you see on the field, it's like, oh, they playing for something. That's what's going to scare me most. So I would attest all of these injuries and all of these fluke things to just, man, they're not winning football games, because I guarantee you, Jerry, or all these guys wouldn't be on this list like this, in my opinion.
Yeah, that wouldn't be surprising. Which of these, whether it's a business decision or a real injury, which one of these do you think are the biggest ones that they'll be missing?
I mean, I think the biggest, this has happened weeks ago. This is when Derrick Henry destroyed our freaking linebacker, JOK. He was obviously the biggest one to our defense, but in recent, I mean, is he out? Okay, Jerry Jeudy is in. This is the first time I'm seeing the report. So Ford is out and Hicks is out.
Njoku being out is pretty big deal for Zappe, right? I mean, just the assurance of having a big tight end, reliable pass catcher.
I was so high on David Njoku this year, and I don't know what it is, but I think he fell too in love with Joe Flacco, and his expectation was set on the ball that was being thrown from him like that. He hasn't had a connection with anybody since Joe Flacco. So as much as I would like to say David Njoku would be the big key here, unfortunately, he just hasn't done what he did last year, and I think that's just a testament to the quarterback. So, I mean, from the out list right now, I'd have to say Denzel Ward, and for sure, because, I mean, he's, you know how he is. He'd have Zay Flowers right where he needs to be in a blanket. But other than that, Jerome Ford would be the next one I'd go to, because he's actually strung together a few good games these past few weeks before he got injured last week.
Do you have an ounce of excitement for this?
I have an ounce, only because of Myles. Like, that's the big thing. If you guys want to watch something, just watch for Myles' energy. That's going to be the big tell-all, and I think that's going to be the leading factor going into this offseason. How active is he? What's his energy like? I think that's the big thing. What type of energy is Myles Garrett going to have? Because I think the defense is going to come out to play. And I think Bailey Zappi, didn't he beat Baltimore? Am I not mistaken, or was it Pittsburgh? I can't remember. He beat 2 AFC North teams before.
I don't believe it was the Ravens.
Okay, so maybe it was Baltimore. I think that's what we were talking about on the round table. But either way, I think
you know who beats the Ravens routinely?
We do.
Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew, yeah.
And the Browns at least once a season.
Please don't pick up Gardner Minshew.
Listen, Gardner Minshew threw for 400 yards on us, and we only won because Myles Garrett scored 17 points by himself, basically. So trust me, I know about Gardner Minshew.
Oh, my goodness. But, hey, Cleveland has Baltimore's number at least once a year, it feels like, in this.
How ironic would it be if the Browns pull out a sweep and 2 of their 4 wins come at the hands of Baltimore?
Oh. See,
that would...
not only would it be like bad for Baltimore, but it'd be especially bad in week 18 when they need this win to tie up the division. Right. And just, you know what I mean? Like kick Pittsburgh out and become the division winners and get a
3 seed.
Yes, get the 3
wild
seed.
Card weekend. Yep.
Exactly. That would be terrible. Bobby, did you have a question off of this?
Well, I was basically just going to have to torture our guy and ask him for a prediction. I know he doesn't want to give it to us. But Sarah, unless you have anything in between.
Well, yeah, let me ask one more question, like a future question, because you mentioned Joe Flacco.
Zay, we'll give you time to think about that prediction,
yes.
all right?
Yeah. So you mentioned Joe Flacco, which from the outside looking in seemed like a terrible mistake for the Browns not to re-sign him, because here they were again without Winston and without Watson. And Winston was fun. He was fun. I loved him as a Ravens podcaster. I was like looking forward to his interviews, but it seemed like it was a bad decision not to bring back Flacco. What are they just going to keep doing this season? Are they going to put everything on Watson again, make sure nobody else is more likable than him? Like, what is the future of the quarterback position?
Well, the biggest ball drop that happened last year was not bringing back Joe Flacco. I think that's number one. But moving forward, no, I think all eggs in one basket, aka Deshaun Watson, that ship has sailed. I think they're actually going to take a page out of the Steelers book. That's my gut feeling. I feel like there's a lot of quarterbacks in this market that aren't going to draw a lot of dollar signs, and you could potentially take a couple flyers. Kirk Cousins will be one of those guys that's been thrown around. He'll be on a vet minimum. You got Daniel Jones out there. You've got a couple quarterbacks that aren't like pretty names that anyone's going to want to really like. Justin Fields is flying around our name. I don't know why people are so obsessed with him, but I think they'll go in to the free agency market, maybe grab 2 guys, and then they'll probably take a quarterback later in that draft. I really, really hope they don't take Cam Ward or one of these guys with the first 3 picks. It just doesn't feel like it's time to do that right now when you got an offensive line problem. You could use some help in the receiving game and just the culture. You need a true culture shift. So I think finding somebody that could, personally, you want to hear the crazy thing? Bring back Joe Flacco. If you're going to keep Kevin Stefanski, he's been the best quarterback to thrive in that system. So if they're going to run it back with this offense that they want to do, they need to bring back the one guy who's executed at a high level and throw away that Houston game. I think that was we all know that, yeah, that's what Joe Flacco could do, but that was an anomaly. I feel like I think they got caught by surprise on that one. So get 2 in the free agency pool and maybe take a late one in the draft. But Deshaun Watson, I'm done.
So just in terms of sorry, Bobby, just in terms of money, are you saying that they like Watson's still on? Like, when can they let go of him?
2026. Oh, he's getting paid.
He's getting paid either way. I just don't know how long they're keeping him.
So I think next year is the $72 million or $67 million or something like that. They just did some type of reconstruction where they're like, they're converting it to some type of signing bonus or something like that. I don't know if it was a signing bonus, but they're converting some type of money to basically kick it down the road again. But I think it'll end in 2026. So we got next year, and then we'll be free of the Watson talk.
Goodness gracious. Do you remember what the record was when he went down?
Wasn't it like 1-6?
Okay. Because I was like, hindsight's always 20/20, but what could have been if Joe was under center for them, or, his primary backup? Would it have been salvaged the year? But 1-6 is a pretty big hole to come out of. Do you remember where it was the year prior when he was entered in?
See, the thing about the year prior was different because the games that we weren't pulling out this year, we were winning. We won the close game versus San Francisco. We won the close game versus the Colts. We almost beat Seattle, but like we were super competitive. So if I personally think if you did have Joe Flacco win, number one, I don't think it would have took 7 games. I think the PR nightmare and I think the pressure behind Joe Flacco would have eventually just ate it up, and you'd be like, you have to get him in there at some point. And I think the players in the locker room would have probably talked a little bit more because they know what Joe Flacco can do. So do I think the season could have been salvaged? No, but I think you could have been talking about what the Bengals are maybe doing right now and giving themselves an opportunity with maybe some teams helping them along the way.
Schefter just tweeted out a minute ago here that the Browns placed Jerome Ford, Njoku, Pierre Strong on injured reserve. So there you have it. None of those guys were expected to play, but now they're on IR, and that'll do it, obviously, for 2024, 2025. Give us your prediction, if you would, and one matchup that you're looking forward to going in.
Jeez, man. You're really going to make me pick a score. Like,
you're a good sport guy.
It's crazy because I genuinely thought that Bailey Zappi would give us a better. I'm going with my gut. I'm going with what I know. There's no way Bailey Zappi is worse than DTR. So I'm going to take that 20 points. We're not going to win, but I definitely think we'll be sitting there in the third quarter and you guys are going to be like, okay, Ravens, what are we doing? Let's get this together and let's do something. As far as the matchup goes, like I said, I'm going back to Myles Garrett. There's one thing that I need to look forward to, whether it's a matchup or not. I need to know what type of energy Myles Garrett is giving. Is it that last hoorah type of energy? Because I think it'll be evident if it is. But, good luck. And if you get zapped, just know you'll hear a little bit from me, but I'll be hearing it from the rest of the Browns fans because they're talking about rioting and burning the city down if we win this game.
If you get zapped. Yeah, at 20-point plus spread. Unbelievable. Chef, we appreciate you, man. I know it's been a trying season. I would love for everybody that's in the live audience right now to go follow you on X at Chef Zae23. You can also be found on YouTube as well. Is that Chef Zae? Is that your YouTube title name?
Yep, everything Chef Zae. You just type me in and everything will pull up.
All right. You've been all right, the AFC North Round Table. I'm sorry I had to bail on you.
I miss you, man. I need one of those old fashioned Zim, Bobby, back and forth. When I seen that Pro Bowler thing, I'm like, oh, I got to put this in the message because I know Zim and Bobby would going back and forth, man. It was a grand time. We got to do it again.
You already know that was a good time, and
I missed that forehead too.
Yeah.
Oh,
I missed that glistening forehead. You know what I'm saying? That boy, we got to thing one and thing two.
We got to give everybody some context, including Sarah. So, as you know, Sarah, no live chat has ever been fearful of being honest with creators in this space. That's for sure.
Right.
And so, Zae often gets the same Bosley type of treatment that I got prior to my hair transplant. So, as I've told Zae, I gotta connect up in New York. And so, not that you need it, because I know you're a confident dude, but the live chat takes no prisoners when it comes to you, and we can hook you up later on in life if you're ever interested.
Need some of that, and I'm gonna need that masks too after this long sleepy season, because I'm not waking up until draft day at this point. Stay on my mentions.
The chat is killing me right now. Zae, you're the man. Happy New Year. Enjoy the game tomorrow, and I look forward to hopefully staying in touch with you down the road.
Sarah, it was nice to meet you, Bobby. As always, man. Whenever you need me, I'm here, brother.
Heck yeah, Chef Zae, go check him out.
Chef.
In his in all of his spaces online. He's a good dude, and that was a great ending.
I didn't even need the context. I knew exactly where that yeah.
I was gonna say, and yes, everybody wants the forehead comments now. I get it. There's plenty of space up there, but you should have seen what it looked like prior to Bosley, and that's all I really care about. So I'm good.
What's your prediction for the game, Bobby?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a blowout in favor of the Ravens. I think that Cleveland's going to struggle to move the ball on Baltimore's defense, and I don't think that we'll see Lamar for 4 quarters. It's a very clean bill of health, by the way, going in. Justice Hill has been ruled out with an illness/concussion, even though he's no longer experiencing concussion symptoms, maybe just gearing up for the postseason. Jalen Armour-Davis has been ruled out. Charlie Kohler, questionable. Patrick McCary, questionable. The rest that are on this list, Nelly, Rasheen, Nnamdi, and Ronnie are all good to go. I think it's going to be a boat race. I think it's going to be a Lamar performance that puts the finishing touches on this thing. Not sure if he'll get that 138.6 number that he needs to break the single-season passer rating number, but I'll go 35-10 Ravens. How about you?
Woo, you did 25 points. How many sacks does Myles Garrett need?
That is a great question.
Makes NFL history with, let's see here. That was 4 days ago. I just need to know how like hard he's going to be going for how long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He recorded 13 and broke records in the process, 30 sacks. Makes him the 3rd player to reach that. I don't know what the record is.
He's going to be ready to go. I think you can promise that.
He's already surpassed 100. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, listen, you got, obviously, you just named all the guys who are now on IR. Denzel Ward's not going to be out there. And Njoku's not going to be out there. I mean, Jerry Jeudy will be out there, so that's what I mean. All you got to do is key in on him now. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not a gambler. Just because it's the Browns, I don't know that I would say it's going to be a 20, like they'll cover the 20. Maybe, I don't know, 17, something like that. Just because I think you will be taking starters out pretty early. Like usually it's in that 4th quarter. It'd be much better if you could do it earlier than that. But yeah, I'll say Ravens by 17, whatever that score may be. But I mean, if they could do that to the Houston Texans, you'd think that they could do it to a hobbled / business decision Browns right now. But I think it'll be a big win, and it's the best of both worlds if they can do that, Bobby, because while they didn't get to rest their starters because they don't know what's happening with the Steelers, and they're obviously not going to be able to rest them for wild card weekend. That was always a debate. That debate and that decision has been taken out of the Ravens' hands, but to be able to come out from Christmas Day, right, and have that bye right before their 3 games in 11 days. And then they had a mini bye coming from that Christmas game against Houston. Lamar said he was feeling great with that mini bye. And then you have that mini bye coming into this game, which you may not have to play the whole thing. And so you're gonna be in the rhythm of football and preparing it like you are playing, because they are, but at the same time, you're not putting your body through the worst of the worst gauntlet ever. So they're gonna have no rust while also potentially being very, very healthy going into that wild card weekend. So
Sarah,
Ravens by 17.
And just to follow up on your question there a minute ago in terms of
Yeah.
where the sack leaders stand and where this race is, Trey Hendrickson and Myles Garrett are both tied with 14. So Pittsburgh, of course, plays Cincy. Cleveland plays Baltimore, so that'll be two things to watch in those games. But they're both tied at 14. Danielle Hunter, who the Ravens just saw on Christmas Day, has 12. And how about this? What if Kyle Van Noy goes off? He's got 11.5 sacks.
Why
He's
not?
2.5 off the lead.
You know what's crazy, Bobby, is I watched Hard Knocks this morning. I just now finally got to it, the Hard Knocks from Christmas. And in the beginning of the show, first of all, there was some pretty nice motivational speeches going on from Todd Monken. You should, I don't know if you have HBO or Max, but Todd Monken was just like, listen, before I came here, I was in the NFL for, I can't remember how many he said. I think he said like 8 seasons. He's like, I made the playoffs once. And he was like, I know that you guys expected this, and so you're not celebrating, but go ahead and cherish it, because it's not normal for everybody to always make the playoffs like the way you guys have here at the Ravens. Then he was also like, hey, also just look at this. I know we're playing on Christmas. He goes, but just remember, you don't want to be the Sunday at 1 p.m. every single week. Yeah. Like, it's saying something that we're here. But anyways, back to Kyle Van Noy. They showed him just with Nnamdi Madubuike in a team meeting room. And like the lights are dim. There's like a solo Christmas tree in the background. And remember, they were playing right from Saturday to Wednesday. And Kyle was like, I don't know, man. He's like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to play on Wednesday. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. Like, my body is tired. My body hurts. And Nnamdi was just like, just do it. Just do it. And then he went out there and played well and got more sacks. So this guy at 33 years old, having to play that crazy schedule and performing the way he did, why not be able to play even better against the Browns and with more rest, with 11 days of rest? So I'm looking forward to see what he can do.
4:30 kickoff tomorrow. My pregame coverage at BMore Around Town will start at 2:30. There's still tickets available if you guys would like to join me out there. BMoreAroundTown.com is where you can get yours. Let's see. So you and I will be on probably around 8:30 or so for our post-game live stream. So we look forward to hanging out with all of you guys then. And here is what to expect from a telecast standpoint. It will be a doubleheader, of course. The later game is Pittsburgh-Cincinnati, as we've mentioned. That's on ESPN, as is the Ravens, 4:30. And look who's going to be in the booth. Dan Orlovsky, who, of course, has been at the forefront of a lot of these MVP conversations. Louis Riddick. It'll be a 2-man booth in terms of analysts. Chris Fowler, who's one of the best in the business, will be the play-by-play. Laura Rutledge will be a sideline reporter, and they'll have a rules analyst in there as well. So that's what we have to look forward to tomorrow. And that just about does it on our Ravens-Browns preview. What else you got, partner?
Should we do some super chats and then we get to quick hits?
I was going to say, it's just those days where we have guests and the guests arrive early and you want to be timely and whatnot and mindful of their time. And you can't fit them in as much as we typically do. So, yeah, let's rip through some super chats and then off to quick hits. Like you said, Deshaun Davis says, is it possible that some of our Pro Bowlers were pushed through to help build a case for Josh? I don't think so, Deshaun, but we appreciate your super chat. Diesel Doctor's back.
Yes, he says, I'm back. Where have you been? He says, been away for a minute, but never missed a show. Oh, okay. Only missed the live shows. #Vault. Something tells me you've been working hard with those diesel semis. Isn't that what he works on, Bobby? Didn't he say? The semi trucks he works on?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Dees. Welcome back. Happy New Year, man. Devon Smith. Yo, Sarah with a huge shout out. Not once, but twice. The vault is up today. Let's go, Flock. Let's go, partner.
Up. I love it.
Well done.
Brittany W. Hey, Sarah and Bobby. I watch y'all all the time, but this is my first time catching you live with a super chat. Just sending some love. Go Ravens. Thank you, Brittany. Appreciate that.
Yeah, heck yeah. Great to have you here. Another Devon. I think it's Devon. Devon Barnes says, first live. First live watched. You guys are the best. Go Flock. We appreciate you for being here. A lot of first timers today in just in terms of live. Of course, this is one's going to Sarah from OG Pearl.
Whoa, dummy. Sarah, you are the real MVP. No. It is Lamar. Let's look at the levels here. It's Lamar. We're just trying to push that agenda.
Or
Sorry.
is he just channeling Kevin Durant's MVP speech from years ago?
Oh, okay.
Maybe, just maybe, who referred to his mother, Wanda Durant, as the real MVP. That could be what he was doing there. OG, let us know. Ravens for Life says, Mark Andrews' Pro Bowl snub is wild. He's caught 84% of passes thrown his way and has 10 touchdowns on just 51 receptions. 1 touchdown for every 5 catches is crazy. Maybe the knock is that given his past standards, past seasons, receiving yards have been down. I don't know if that has something to do with it, or the fact that he struggled out of the gate.
I was going to say, I think it took a minute for him to come on.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. But the last 10 weeks,
fire.
Goodness gracious. Clot.
Hey, Sarah, they were talking about you on Good Morning Football. Oh, yeah, Clot is in the building.
Hey, there we go. Let's go. Love it. Clot, good to be here. And Sarah's in the National building as well. What a great Friday. Asmodeus, a.k.a. Richard, says, time to bring the vault to ESPN.
They did it with the Pete McAfee show. I mean, we're essentially just as big, right, Bobby?
How about it?
Yeah.
How about it? Richard, you're gonna facilitate that and act on our behalf? David Cool.
#1 Ravens podcast, Kings of the North.
What up, David? Happy New Year to you and your daughter there, Octavia. Great patrons of ours. Captain Hard writes, do you feel if any other quarterback had the season Lamar has had, would it even be a debate? I feel like Lamar gets criticized differently.
I honestly think there's some fatigue there for sure. Yes.
Not a fan.
Shout out Chef Zae. Cool dude. Way better than Zim. I don't know Zim, but that's what I generally hear from Ravens fans.
Zim's always catching strays. He's a good dude. He comes across as very passionate online, and things could have often got spirited between the two of us.
I can tell you the way Ravens fans talk about Zim, I bet Bills fans are talking that way about me.
Maybe. But Chef was great to come on. It was last minute too. Like, just to peel back the curtain, we had a lot of people say no, and not that Zae was like an afterthought or like a backup option or whatever. We just always go for beat reporters just because of the access, and so nobody was able to come through for us today. And so I reached out to Zae this morning, and to his credit, he mate himself available. So I just wanted to give him some love for that.
That's awesome.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. Habitual Line Stepper says, Chef does the ref dummy need a new medical coverage after this season? What's the wrap around it? It looks like the modified sling, which he's referring to the dummy that he had in the background of his setup there in his studio. I should have put these up there when Zae was on there. I'm sorry, guys. I wasn't paying attention to the chat as much as I should have. But, yeah, we'll have to get back to you on that one once maybe Zae will go back and look at this. Richard C.
Good Morning Football just mentioned Sarah. See, this is what I'm telling you. My mentions. I love the groundswell of support from Ravens fans, Bobby. Like the way they've gotten behind us, got behind our show, all of it. Like I just feel like they're just as excited as us. It makes me so happy. Thank you for your support.
And just to piggyback off that, what I keep coming back to is the community. Like, that's the word that I think of.
Yeah.
Because that's the word that I see used from some of you out there.
Yeah.
You feel like you're a part of the community. Other people have met other members of this community and now consider themselves friends. And so, Purple and Black just gifted Chris,
right,
his homage T-shirt winning, super chat random winner that we did last week because they're friends from the live chat. Like, Manny and Mike met up in Houston because they're both in that area. Or Manny's in Mexico. I think Mike, I don't know, maybe Mike lives in Houston. They met through the show and then hung out on Christmas Day, pregame tailgating outside NRG Stadium. Like,
that's awesome.
That to me speaks to the community, and none of that happens without your guys' passion for your team and your commitment to us. So we just want to make sure that's understood because it's felt by us for sure.
Yes.
Mike Walker says MG would look good in purple. So would Sauce. #Vault, referring to Myles Garrett and Sauce Gardner. It's hard to argue with that. C. Brittle.
HBO/Max try to get Browns content for the show. AFC North. We just need to play clean.
Elo says Zaytoven. Chill, y'all losing for show. Referring to Chef Zae as Zaytoven. Rave Kingdom.
Wait, he missed the what? Well, I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, hang
Wait,
on
he
now. He's
missed
got
that
3 in a row here.
what?
So that's
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Number 2.
You read that one.
Let's see. A, Bumbleclat Dog, man, a fish, man said he need that mask. Ayo. And then he said he missed the oily shine on your head. I thought Diddy bought all the oil. Nah, Ben Cleveland. We're just going to keep him. Brave, you're going to get me in trouble. OG Pearl.
Somebody said Bobby looks like a grown boss baby.
You guys are funny. I really think that there's a contingent
Okay,
in
here's
this chat that feels
Okay.
like I am bothered by them commenting on my forehead. Guys, do you know what my hair looked like prior to the transplant? I'm playing with house money over here. Okay, I'll pull up.
Yes,
Don't make
Bobby.
me pull up the before and afters. Okay, I'm winning here. So if you guys think you're winning, great. You could do what you do. But I am totally unfazed right now, and I had an awesome experience at Bosley, Sarah, and it has regrown and then some.
Okay, but can we make a rule for these super chats? Okay, here's the rule. Here are 2 things I never want to read from the super chats. I never want to read a chat that compliments me, and I never want to read a chat that tries to like be mean to you or tries to like take a jab, even if it's funny.
What if it's 100
Can
spot?
we make that deal?
What if it's 100
No.
spot?
I'm not reading it.
Okay.
I'll flash it and everybody can read on their own, or you will read it. But if somebody's trying to take a jab at you, I'm not reading it. Like I did not like reading that.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair. You see what you've done, OG? You established great rapport with Sarah about the woo-wee or whoa or whatever, whichever one it was. And look what
Woo-wee,
you've done.
dummy.
Look what you've done, OG. You got some work to do now. You got a little bit of work to do. You're uphill from here. Diesel Doctor is back. He said, I saw Good Morning Football and heard our girl shout it out. I was like, hey, now, our girl getting recognized nationally. Way to go, Sarah. Love it.
Thank you, Diesel.
Malcolm Blackman, I'll just take this one. Bobby, where will you be tomorrow before the game? I'll be at the Be More Around Town tailgate. It's 801 West Austin Street. That's where I am for every single home game, and I will be there for a wild card game, assuming that there is one, which there is likely going to be one against the Chargers and or Steelers. So that's where I'll be tomorrow, about 2 o'clock or so. There's still tailgate passes available, BeMoreAroundTown.com. And King Lee says racist Bills fans and that AI crap. Not sure what he's referencing there. There's trolls in every fan base. And Adam.
No, I saw it. I just choose not to give it. You know me. I don't give oxygen to dumb stuff. So but I know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Got you.
Adam says, so here is my Josh Allen take. While he is an excellent one QB, my issue is I feel the NFL has been trying to tell us for years we will like him instead of letting it be naturally earned, like they want him as the face. I definitely have felt that push this year. I don't know if I've felt it in years past. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but it does feel, maybe it's ever since like Dan Orlovsky declared it over and all that kind of stuff, or even when that ESPN anonymous front office people were talking about it, saying that what was it that they said that like maybe he deserved one? He was like the most underrated or something like that. But then players were saying he was the most overrated.
I was going to say the player survey named him that, right?
Yeah.
So from Buffalo perspective, you can see where they're coming from. Bills fans are like, "Oh, you guys thought that his own peers thought that he was most overrated, and look what he's doing now. You know, he's a front runner, or at least he's a candidate for this year's MVP." So you can see both ways. What I Say Junior says, "I'm trying to see Sarah on First Things First." You know a guy? What? You know a guy? Let's make that happen.
Yeah, seriously. I'd like to go on all of them. I'm going to make a case for Lamar in all of them.
Do it.
Pro Bowl podcast. Let's go Vault. That's right.
Greg from Long Beach with a super sticker. Appreciate you, Greg. Happy New Year. Tila says Lamar owes us a visit on the show because of Sarah.
Oh, Tila, can you make that happen?
Yeah. Tila, he's your nephew, right? You kind of feel like you're the auntie. I see I see Tila and some others. Maybe that was for Zae. They felt like Zae is their nephew because of how young he is. But Lamar's still young too. He turns 28 this month. So
yeah,
let us know, Teal.
Birthday's coming up.
Mike M.
Meeting up with Manning again tomorrow for the game. Oh, nice. Is that the
let's
story
go.
you just told?
Mike and Manny. Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Good for you guys. Very cool. Little blossoming, budding friendship down there in the Houston area. King Lee says respect for Sarah, for sure. And OG, trying to get back in your good graces, Sarah. I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, I'll do this. All love, Bobby, with the purple heart emoji. There we go. That is all love. And yes to the kid MVP speech. The KD MVP speech. So you were right about that. There you go.
Love it. And Thor's going to make you do something you maybe don't want to do.
I'm not doing it. You read it.
It's not so bad, though.
Okay.
Well, no, but this wasn't. I don't believe this was this falls against your rules, does it?
Bobby Baltimore. There we go. I'll read that.
Sarah. All right. Sarah's awesome. Thanks, Thor. Appreciate. I can read it, right?
You can read it.
Right. That's part of the deal here.
Okay. Sure.
Jang writes.
Always all going across the world all the time.
This is hysterical. Packing for my trip back to the U.S. while having the pod in the background. The grown boss baby comment sent me rolling on the floor. Sorry, that was funny from Jang. D-Rod.
Okay. He says, we love Bobby. He's built different. All respect, sir.
I like it.
Completely agree.
I like it, D.
Bobby built
What
different.
I Say Junior says, God, I wish. What was this in reference to?
I have no idea.
Because he sent another one. Oh, he doesn't have any plugs. All right. Well, you let us know if that changes. No plugs. No industry plugs. All right. Well, what are you going to do? Partner, speaking of first things first, you got some information for us here to kickstart Quick Hits.
Oh, well, okay. So you guys, I was a little bit passionate yesterday when I was disputing Acho's latest take of why he felt that Josh Allen had the lead in the MVP race, saying that Josh Allen had the better film while Lamar had the better stats. If you want, you can go back and check that segment out. We pulled it out and posted as a standalone video. And remember, live, I went back to Acho because I'd invited him on the show, and he said we can make something happen. He's like, send me it and let me check it out. So I sent it to him, I think on the 30th, gave him New Year's Eve and New Year's. So I was following up live on the show, and I said, we passed the sniff test. And he hasn't replied to that. That's okay. He may not have the time. Bobby, it's tough to make time to go on podcasts. We both know that. As we try to get guests on here and we get invited on other podcasts, like it's just, you always have to put yours first. And then if you've got time, you go on others. So I don't hate it. So what I did was respond to him directly on Twitter with the best response I had of yesterday. Yesterday, I kind of, had a lot to say, but I thought I would take to him the best argument. So the facility put up his video and quoted him saying Lamar has a better case for those who consume stats first and film second, but Josh has a better case for those who consume film and stats second. I hated even saying that. So I replied back to Acho. I said, you're right, Acho. Opponents pay attention to tape. D'Amico Ryans.
You call him by his last name. Is there a reason why you do that? Not to interrupt.
That's what they call him on the show.
Oh, okay. So you're just following suit with what they do on there. Okay.
Yeah, what they call him.
Yeah.
You're right, Acho. Opponents pay attention to tape. Did you think that was disrespectful or something?
No, I just think it's funny. I think it speaks to just the passion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they call him. I mean, I watch it pretty often.
I'm with you.
Anyway, so I say D'Amico Ryans, who faced both quarterbacks this season, said, quote, Lamar definitely jumps off the tape as the best player I've seen this year. He's definitely the MVP, close quote. And then I said, Ryans said nothing about a stat sheet. And then I didn't show it here, but I posted the video for him just in case he wanted to hear it. And this is why I like Emmanuel Acho. This is it right here. I have sent things like this, which is not personal. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just want to win a debate. People like Shannon Sharp block me. Not when I'm trying to be a troll. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just responding with facts and debate. And I've been blocked. But this is why I like Emmanuel. He responded very quickly after I posted that to him. And he said, Miko is my former teammate. I definitely value his opinion. And based on how the Texans own Josh Allen, he has even more authority behind his belief. So I just put 100 emoji and then the purple heart emoji. So I appreciated that response. I don't know when I'm reading that. I don't know that he's saying that he's changing his mind. But he says he's got authority behind his belief. And I felt like he was like, okay, I feel like that was him saying that's a good argument back. I don't know that that means he's going to vote for Lamar, but I appreciate his response. And I love this little Twitter engagement we have going on between each other, even if he doesn't make it onto the show.
I like what we're learning about Emmanuel through all these, or about Acho through these interactions. Like, he seems like a cool dude.
Yeah.
I think a lot
He
of
really
times
does.
people take him maybe to be fond of himself based on how he talks online, but I think he's a cool guy. I think he's actually pretty what's the right word that I'm looking for? Like, seems like a pretty level-headed dude. I think a lot of that has shown through your interactions.
And
So,
I think he listens.
Yep.
I don't think that means he like changes all of his thoughts, but I think he listens.
more quick hits and just some information about the game. Mike Flynn will be your Ravens legend of the game. And let's see, let me just blow this up here a little bit. His Ravens walk interview will be at 2:45. There will be Pro Bowlers, all 9 of them, introduced during the intro section. Parking lots open at 12 noon. Ravens walk opens at 1:30. And the gates to the stadium, to the bank, open at 2:30. Rob Bass will be the halftime show performer. And, of course, obviously, most notably, as you guys all know, a win secures the Ravens a second consecutive AFC North title crown.
It's cool that their introductions are going to be the Pro Bowlers.
Yeah.
It's cool that they have enough Pro Bowlers to even do that. like,
right?
Like if they had 2 or 3, you can't do that, right? Like it's
No.
just like too few of people. But, you know, they usually do offense or they do defense. They kind of switch it up. But this time it's like you have 9 Pro Bowlers. Let's recognize those 9. And by the way, shout out Mike Flynn. I was there when he was still playing. He was a very good center. But even before, remember we always got those images of Marshall Yanda and how much weight he lost? For me, Mike Flynn was the OG of that because that was a big dude. He's a center. And he like melted off the pounds too when he retired.
Love it.
So good dude right there.
Love it. That's all coming up tomorrow. And how about Keaton Mitchell, this year's recipient of the Ed Block Courage Award? And as the Ravens tweeted out, each year the team selects a teammate for this award who exemplifies commitment to the principles of sportsmanship and courage. And having obviously had a pretty trying last 13 months, gearing himself back from last year's serious knee injury and now being ready for a postseason run, and just how much of a good dude he comes across, having been in our live chat before, by the way.
That's right.
Certainly feels as if this is a worthy recipient. Congratulations to Keaton.
Very happy for him. I mean, it's man, it's just there's nothing better than when you see somebody go through adversity and then to transcend that adversity. Like Keaton, I'm sure he was down behind the scenes. He was off to a phenomenal rookie season. And now that he's healthy, it's like this is what happens when you get injured is somebody else gets an opportunity and you don't know what they're going to do with it. And right now, Justice Hill and Derrick Henry have been an absolute insane duo. And so once he got healthy, there just wasn't enough room. And I don't even know that he's 100% yet. He got plenty of snaps against the Texans, right? The Texans, I believe.
Yep.
And I don't know that he's all the way back yet. And obviously, he was running behind a backup, some of the backup offensive linemen and all that. But to me, it's only going to get better from here. It's only going to get better from here. And he's going to have another chance against the Browns because Keaton Mitchell, Justice Hill, was he declared out?
Justice, yeah, has been.
Yeah. Yep. So Keaton will get another shot and just take another step forward. It's only going up from here.
We have Steve Young in the live chat.
What's
on
that
YouTube.
now?
We have a Steve Young in the YouTube live chat.
Hey,
I
Steve
don't believe
Young,
that
not
is
the Steve Young.
Hey, Steve
Although
Young.
this Steve Young is like, hey, I'm the Steve Young.
It certainly just sticks out, given his past on our channel and your affinity for him, of course, our affinity for him. But one more here in quick hits. Matthew Brown on X tweeted at Kyle Van Noy and said, hey, man, I feel like you should have made the Pro Bowl as a starter and not as an alternate. And Kyle's like, yeah, me too. He's got 11.5 sacks this year. That is top 5, top 4 in this league. And as we referenced earlier on, if he has himself a day, Sarah, and Hendrickson and Garrett are held in check in their respective games, look out for KVN as a little sleeper to take the sack title. It might be
That would
unlikely.
be awesome.
But I also wanted to share this too, now that we're digging into Kyle's Twitter, because this just came up earlier. And I'll do this. Look at what he tweeted out. Just want to make the Ravens fans aware of this.
Oh,
Ravens fans, I got 4 extra tickets all together for tomorrow's game at the bank. I know it's going to be a little chilly, but everybody likes free tickets. All you have to do is explain who you are taking and why. I'll pick the winner at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight.
Oh,
Good luck. So in
that's
the
awesome.
holiday spirit is Kyle Van Noy. You can follow him on X, at Twitter, at KVN_03. But Sarah, that's it seems as if you want to enter in, all you have to do is just tweet at him.
Yeah, he's
and
just
explain.
saying, reply about who you're going to take and why. And I'm sure he's going to take the story that is most compelling to him.
Yep.
As we talk about KVN, first of all, he is perpetually one of the most underrated outside linebackers in the league. And this is just a continuation of that. But it reminds me, our BYU Cougars destroyed the Colorado Buffaloes with their Heisman winner, Travis Hunter, and obviously the Sanders sons. But here's my favorite part, because I love Dion because we go back. Yeah. And I loved that he used to call me preacher girl, because I spoke about faith to Dion. You know that we connected there. Anyway, and so the BYU coach, Kalani Sitake, when they went for the post-game handshake, I've never seen or more respected handshake. These two guys must have hugged forever. Okay, they were hugging, chatting forever. At one point, they kind of pull apart, and I don't know why, but Dion took his towel and kind of wiped the sweat off of Kalani Sitake's brow. Then in the post-game show, in the post-game presser, Dion was like, man, if you're going to get your butt whooped, he goes, I want to get my butt whooped by Kalani Sitake, because that's a good dude right there. That's a good man. And I was like, you know what? Me and Dion are just on the same page, because I love Sitake too, obviously, as the BYU coach. But I just thought of that because of KVN. He obviously went to BYU, and that was a good win for BYU, who just barely lost out on a playoff spot down in the stretch there. But they still put an exclamation point on their season by taking apart the Colorado Buffaloes.
Hey, congrats to your Cougars on that bowl W. Tanner Mashburn, Jaron Fonville are this episode's Patreon shout-out sponsors because of the support that they give us through our Vault Patreon community. Tanner, Jaron, this is your shout-out. We appreciate you guys. Happy New Year. Thank you for all the support that you give us. For those of you interested in doing the same, you can visit patreon.com/RavensVault podcast and support the show and us for as little as $1.99. It goes directly towards the daily efforts, the time commitment, the determination, everything that goes into building this channel. And we appreciate you guys, obviously, for all the support that you give us. And we keep talking about that community. That community is felt. Let's get back to some super chats before we jump. More have come in. Ravens for Life says AFC Pro Bowlers. Bowers has 4 touchdowns and Kelsey has 3. Brock Bowers had a historic season as a rookie tight end for Vegas. He was a problem. He gave the Ravens a problem way earlier on in week 2. Greg from Long Beach.
I'm proud to know you guys. You're going worldwide. Go that far. But
Appreciate
I like it.
Greg. Thanks, Greg. Angie Carr says, don't care what anyone says. Voter fatigue is BS. Where was the fatigue when Favre, Brady, and Peyton won them? Yet they argue Jordan should have won more MVPs, which is true. Just say you're biased. And Wildlife Wale, Sarah.
As a bartender in St. Croix, I get a lot of Steelers and Bills fans as tourists at the bar. The stats y'all dig really help to shut them up. Hashtag Vault.
I love that. That's a great
awesome.
story right there. Using it as your personal arsenal, right? Keep it where you need it. Karen Brockington says, when we were mentioned on Good Morning Football, I felt proud. Great job, Sarah and Bobby. If we're not number 1 for the Baltimore Ravens after today, we will be.
You know what I love about that? Are we on the same page? She kept saying we. That's right, we.
I was
Meaning
literally
she's a
about
part
to
of the
single
vault
that
too.
out. Yep,
Yes,
I was
sorry.
literally about to single that part of the comment out because that again goes back to just this community, and there's over 4,400 community members watching us concurrently right now, and we're 26 minutes past what we typically do. So, well, of late, this is normal for us of late, but that's because it's the postseason. Karen, stuff like this, I mean, it really does. It just hits, doesn't it, partner? Like just hearing we gives you a certain level of motivation to continue building this. So, Karen, thank you for commenting something so simple that is obviously a lot more than just those words to us. And Chris comes in.
Well, real quick, you just used the word concurrently, which is normal to me, but I've noticed Tila every time that you say it. Because when you were out, I would say, "Oh, there's 4,400 of you," and Tila would be like, "Concurrently." She's like, "Where's Bobby?" Concurrently. So
What I
every
love
time
about
you say
Tila,
it,
yeah, she's got you. She's got your back. Tila does.
she sure does.
For
She's
sure.
like, put in the Bobby word concurrently. Okay, Chris says, when your new fans come, let them know we fight.
I love it.
Indeed. Yeah.
Chris is an OG as well. Brandon Humble says, I sent you a super chat a few days ago, Sarah, wishing a happy belated birthday from a fellow Capricorn. I missed it to the YouTube ads. Keep interrupting the live feed again. Happy birthday.
That's too bad. Thank you for that. Appreciate, man. That you know what's funny is like, we'll tally up the super chats at the end of each show. And my birthday, this is insane. This is insane to me. My birthday was the most super chats we've ever gotten. The second most behind the Christmas Day game where the Ravens had played insane and everybody was in a happy mood. So behind the Christmas Day win, we had the most super chat donations on my birthday, which I absolutely did not anticipate. You guys are way too generous, way too generous. So Brandon, you are one of those guys. Thank you very much.
You deserve it. You deserve it for your birthday. You know, to me, it's a sign of, and I mean, I don't want to put words in super chat donors' mouths, but it's a sign of appreciation. And hopefully you guys continue to allow us to be small parts of your day, small parts of your lives. Johnny, now they're just coming in. Johnny says, Johnny No Bravo says, checking in from DC. Love the work you guys do. Enjoy the content. We appreciate you, Johnny. The district, chilling. Oh, okay, here's the follow-up. Checking in from DC. Love the work you guys do. Thoroughly enjoy their content. Thanks, Johnny. We appreciate you. Wildlife Wale takes screenshots, partner. And that's how
take screenshots the whole show.
And that's how he goes after the bar. That's how he goes after his customers, I guess.
That's right.
Or debates.
The
debates
tourists,
his customers.
Yeah.
And Angie Carr.
Question: I'm a new Vault member, but what do y'all call the group? Vaulties, bankers? Ooh.
What do you guys refer to yourselves as?
Yeah.
Vaulters.
I kind of like bankers. Vaulties are funny.
The
Vaulters.
Yeah.
Bankers. Bankers is kind of cool though.
Honestly, I feel like the audience should pick something, and whatever resonates most,
They
we'll
like
just ride with.
Chris is saying the Flock Nation, which is obviously, Squad Flock.
I would love to get some feedback on this from our current chat. What do
He
you guys?
Vault thieves.
Because I don't know if Flock narrows it down enough.
Yeah, because Flock is like all Ravens fans, which we're cool with everybody, obviously, but not all Flock Nation listens to the Vault. We would like that to happen.
Yeah.
But the Flock is all Ravens fans. What would be Vault listeners? I gotta tell you, I like bankers.
Sarah, you know what somebody said to me the other day? They were asking about. I can't remember what it was. May have even been my dad. He's just like, so what do you think your like your biggest goal milestone would be? Like, how big do you think you can get this show? And the first thing that I blurted out was, how many seats are there in M&T Bank?
Yeah.
And he's like, let me go look it up. It's like just over, I believe it's just north of 70,000.
Yeah.
So it's okay. We definitely want to be able to have an audience base subscription wise that can, and by the way, between mine and ours, our two channels.
How many subscribers do you have on your personal?
I believe I just hit north of 24,000, which means
nice.
You and I could potentially at some point in the coming months get to 50,000 combined between the two.
Okay.
And
although I'm sure there's some overlap.
There's definitely some overlap.
Yeah.
But so I thought about that. And then I went and looked at the Ravens social media accounts. And they all have millions of followers, typically somewhere between 1 and 3 million followers, depending on what network you're looking at.
Yeah.
And then I went over and looked at YouTube, and there's hundreds of thousands. And then I went and looked at our guy Ingraven, who just hit
Right.
80,000 subscriptions on YouTube.
Go
Congratulations,
Ing.
Ing.
Yes.
Always building each other up. We love him. And he shared some nice sentiments about you, by the way, on X today.
Oh, did he? I
Given
need to
your
reply.
Good Morning Football cameo. And so it's a tangent to say, I don't even think we're anywhere close to doing what we could do.
Yeah.
And I think we're just getting started. 2.5 years in, 3 years in. It's exciting. There's
So,
lots to
Bobby,
be
the
excited
way
about.
I love the way you just laid that out. What I've always done, and I've said this before, like, and this is with me in like more like workout goals, right? And so sometimes, because everybody knows I just turned 45. So I've heard a lot of people who I work out with that just turned 40 and they're like, oh, I heard I'm so tired. I guess this is what 40's like. And I'm like, no. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the person that's 10 years older than me, 55, and is still working out and is in better shape than me at 45. So what I've always done in my life is I pick somebody who's just ahead of me and use them as inspiration. And that's what I remember doing on Twitter, because I arrived to Twitter. I remember I was working at the Ravens, and Garrett Downing and Ryan Mink were already established once I finally started, doing stuff on Twitter. And then I was like, okay, they're my goal, right? And then so then I hit how many followers they have, and then I'm like, okay, who's the next person I can look at? Not the highest, but the next highest. And like right now, the guys that are inspiring me on Twitter is Jeff Zrebiec and Jameson Hensley, right? They're like the two that are ahead of me. And I don't say that in a competitive sense. I say that in a inspirational sense. Ingraven is completely my inspiration on YouTube, right? That he's at 80,000. He's so welcoming. He's so he lifts everybody up that comes to YouTube. And so I want to do that too. I want to lift everybody up that comes after us. I want to lift up those that have, like Ing, who have paved the way for us. But that's how I do it. So right now, Ing is my inspiration. And if we were ever to be so lucky to get to Ing's level, then we got to pick somebody new and say, okay, we got to chase that and use that as inspiration. So that's how I like to do it, is always use as a mentor somebody that's just ahead of you.
Look at what, and speaking of inspiration, look at what Angie inspired. An awesome tangent. And just speaking of visions and goals and what we're chasing after. So Angie, thank you for your super chat donation. Jemmy93 says bankers could be double meaning for the vault and also for M&T Bank Stadium.
There we go.
Deshaun Davis.
Let's keep it simple. Vault flock. I ain't no banker. I'm a damn. Oh, why did I want to say that?
Okay. Deshaun's weighing in though. He thinks it's vault flock.
I'm a dang pipe fitter. Oh, he got me.
Oh, okay. I thought you were, I see what happened here. Okay.
No.
I thought you were referring to pipe fitter. Okay.
Dang, I tried to say dang.
I thought, yeah, I'm with you.
No.
You know what though? I don't even consider that a slip up. You might, but everybody that was, including myself, that was trying to bait you within the last week or so, I don't know if that counts. But for you, as long as if that counts, I'm sorry about that. But
yeah. Woo. Can't believe I said it. Such a streak I had going on.
Deshaun, I believe that's checkmate for you. Dreams, aka Queon, says, let's aim for 50K for this channel by the end of the year.
Would
love you guys. Vault for life, and I'm hoping for a Jackson 5 tomorrow. Appreciate you, Queon. 50K, currently at 20,000 and change. I like that.
Yes.
That is lofty, but I love that. And Zembeb Weeking.
You read this one.
Totally botched that. Zembab Weeking. Sorry, Zem. I'm gonna go with Zem for now. I feel like you've given me the pronunciation before, Zem, and maybe I'm just forgetting. So apologies, but thank you for the super chat. Big fan, Sarah. I've been following you since you first came on. The Baltimore beat after the 2019 playoff loss. Always insightful and rooted in your faith. Very cool.
I like that one. Thank you, Zem.
And
that
Karen.
one I liked. Despite not small beginnings, we're going places, y'all. We will get there. Love it.
Very cool. Wildlife says, I have an 85-year-old yoga teacher that kicks my arse. # motivation. Man, he's just laughing. He's laughing.
He's looking up. Yeah.
We're laughing. We appreciate you guys. This has been fun.
Yeah,
These guys know how to get us 90 minutes, don't they?
they sure do. I thought we were going to be done just under 60. I mean, we announced quick hits at 55 minutes. Oh,
Deshaun's loving this, though. The chat's loving this. This is great. All right. Let's bounce. We appreciate you guys. Tomorrow's game day. Plan accordingly. 4:30 kick. 2:30 pregame show at the Beemore Around Town lot. 801 West Austin is where you can find me outside the bank. It's an 8:30, probably rough timeline start for our post-game show. And we look forward to all that. And then did I just get a pronunciation here?
Did we get one?
Zimbabwe, ZW King. Oh, whatever. Appreciate you guys. Didn't mean to cook that one. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks to Manta Sleep for sponsoring today's live stream. We would love for you to go support them because it's supporting us, and you can use our discount code at checkout for 10% off your next purchase. That is Vault10. More information can be found in the show notes. For Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trosted signing off from this Friday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. Back down to Baltimore I go. It's been a fun time up here in the upstate New York, but heading back down south early tomorrow morning for this kickoff. Partner, look forward to our post-game coverage together. Hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your Fridays. And for Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trosted signing off. We'll catch up with you soon. And as always, we appreciate you for spending some time with us here inside the vault. We'll talk soon.